The last time that I asked my friend Maya if she was okay, she stared at me like I asked her to explain the entire universe in one sentence. Her mouth opened and closed, and then she looked down her hands and just said, "Oh, I'm just tired." But I knew Maya. She prepared answers for conversations that haven't even happened yet. She rehearsed arguments in her head in the shower, and she planned how to respond if someone criticized her at work. She imagined what she would say if an old friend confronted her, if a stranger embarrassed her, if someone that she loved suddenly decided to leave. In her head, she was always ready. But then real life would arrive without following the script that she had planned out, and Maya would go quiet. She once spent an entire evening preparing to tell her boss that she was overwhelmed. She wrote it in her notes app, she rehearsed it in her head, she was thinking, "Oh, I've just been taking on more than I can manage, and I think we need to discuss my workload in this company." It was clear, respectful, and reasonable. She practiced saying it while driving, she practiced it while making dinner, she even prepared responses for every possible reaction he could have. If he was understanding, she'd know what to say. Same thing if he was defensive, same thing if he blamed her. But then the next morning he walked over to her desk and asked, "Everything going okay?" And Maya smiled. "Yeah, everything's great." And that's how she survived. She carried out entire speeches in her head and offered people tiny harmless sentences instead. "I'm fine, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it." Those words became doors she quietly locked from the inside. At first, I thought she was just a very shy person, and then I thought she was private. But Maya wasn't afraid of speaking, she was afraid of what might happen after she spoke. What if she explained herself badly, or sounded dramatic? What if the other person became uncomfortable? What if they looked at her differently? Her mind treated every conversation like a bomb that had to be disarmed perfectly. One wrong word and everything could explode. So she waited for the perfect wording. And while she waited, life kept moving. Her friends stopped asking why she disappeared from plans, her coworkers kept giving her more work, her boyfriend kept assuming silence meant agreement. And every night, Maya replayed the conversations she should have had. And that was the cruel part. She could never find the right words during the moment, but 5 hours later, she became brilliant. She would be lying in her bed at 2 in the morning and suddenly know exactly what she should have said at lunch. Every sentence arrived perfectly polished, and right after it became useless. And I watched her slowly become a background character in her own life. She had opinions, but rarely she shared them. She had needs, but hated asking for anything. She had pain, but packaged it so carefully that nobody could see it. And because Maya never caused problems, people thought that she had none. But then her mother got sick. Not suddenly, but slowly. The kind of illness that turns every phone call into something you're afraid to answer. Maya started visiting her every weekend, and before each visit, she would rehearse what she wanted to say. She wanted to tell her mother that she was scared. She wanted to apologize for being distant. She wanted to ask questions about her childhood, her regrets, the life that she had before becoming someone's mother. And most of all, Maya wanted to say, "I don't know how to do this without you." And she practiced that sentence more than any other. But whenever she entered the hospital room, her mother would smile and ask about work, and Maya would follow the safer conversation route. Work was busy, traffic was bad, the coffee downstairs was terrible, and everything important stayed trapped behind ordinary words and conversations. One evening, Maya got a call from the hospital parking lot. She told me that her mother is there. "Is there something that you wanted to tell me?" And Maya had waited her whole life for someone to clearly ask her that. No guessing, no perfect opening required, the door was wide open. And she could still not walk through it. She said, "No, I'm okay." Her mother died 3 days later. After the funeral, Maya showed me a note on her phone, several pages long. Everything she had wanted to say was there. Memories, questions, apologies, love. It was one of the most honest things I've ever read. And the person it was written for had never heard it. Maya looked at me and said, "I thought I had more time to get the words right." That sentence changed the way I saw overthinking. Because we think overthinking protects us from making mistakes, and sometimes, sure, it does. But sometimes it creates the one mistake that we can't repair. It convinces us that silence is safer than honesty, that waiting is wiser than risking embarrassment, that the perfect moment will eventually arrive and rescue us from being vulnerable. But perfect moments rarely announce themselves. They look like someone sitting across from you and asking, "Hey, are you okay?" They look like a phone call that you almost ignore, and they look like a normal afternoon with someone who will not always be there. Maya still rehearses conversations. That part of her didn't disappear overnight, but now, when the important words do come out, She tries to say them before they become perfect. Sometimes they come out awkward and her voice shakes, and sometimes she has to stop halfway through her sentence and start again, but she says them. And because she finally understood something most of us learn too late, the people who love you don't need the perfect version of your truth. They just need the version of you that's brave enough to say while there is still time.